So open for us means everything is open. So what we'll do is again, this is the question: must it be closed? For some things, the answer is almost always it must be open. And what we do is the first thing we'll do is we'll write an API for something, and then we'll document it and make it public, and that goes out before the endpoint ever goes live, right? So it's actually a way of life. It's about everything you do is out in the open, and you don't know if somebody's ever going to find it useful or not, but you don't care, right? It doesn't matter. You just do it in the open. And we've not had any luck at all with any sort of shared data sets, because the litigious nature of the music industry, if we were to take data from some other place, some other tech company and so forth, we would just get sued. So our stance has always been, no, we can't do that. So it's been purely our own data, and most of it is factual. So, Creative Commons CC0 type stuff.
Katie or Guillaume, would either of you like to talk about your experiences?
I was just going to say, picking up on a couple of points there, we lean really heavily on the Open Knowledge Foundation definition of open, and we're starting to share that more with our users, actually. And to pick up on that point around open washing, we've seen that creep over into data sharing even within the apparel sector. And so we've started to try and help people understand what identify open washing, I guess I would say. So we published a report earlier this summer, and we actually have a section dedicated to sharing that definition of what open data is, helping people understand the difference between open data and open source as well, because I think people just sort of hear these terms and mush them all together and then think that anyone that says that data matters is sharing it openly, and that's not always the case. But from our perspective, the one thing that I will point out, and people have asked a few questions in the chat about business model, we do have a paid for API connection, because from our perspective, we really needed to think through our longer term financial sustainability. And so a mixture of philanthropic and grant funding and access to premium features is where we've landed. But the 2 points that I will make, three. So from our perspective, you're paying for the convenience. So APIs aren't free to maintain. So we need to generate some kind of revenue. I'm relieved to see you gave me a thumbs up there, Robert. And then the other points I'll make is that all of our data is still available to search, download, and contribute manually. So you can still go for your life with CSV and Excel files. And the third point I'll make is that we do still offer a civil society access programs. So organizations who don't have the funds to connect with our API but do have the technical capacity can apply to that program. So hopefully we're striking a good balance between maintaining that openness, enabling that equitable access, but also tech's expensive. So we've got to find a way to pay pay for those expensive developers Robert was talking about before.
I think that that's one thing that people really do underestimate, is the fact that you may be an open organization, but you still have to pay for everything that every organization does when it comes to publishing data or building the data infrastructure that allows you to do things with data. And it's not always something that people consider when they start asking you, have you published this? Have you published this? Why haven't you published this? Guillaume, is there anything you'd like to pick up on that question?
It's something that's been a constant, like for another reason. I was digging through the early mailing list posts, and people were already arguing about what open should mean for OpenStreetMap. So we've settled, I won't bore you with the history, but we've settled on the open database license. Which means that open for us means that we have to be able to integrate it, and this share alike license that requires attribution as well. But it's definitely something that there's open washing, but there's shades of it, of openness. And we had a chat before, and it was interesting to see how different projects settled on a different definition of open to maximize their goals. We want to maximize contribution to the OpenStreetMap project, so we settled on these compromise, and Robert and Katie settled on other definitions to maximize what they wanted to achieve.